And we're live on TikTok once more because why the hell not? It's 10 past 3 on a Friday afternoon. Is anybody in the world available to watch a TikTok live? No. No, they aren't. No. But I'm going to do one anyway because I don't give a shit. Clearly. Clearly, that's what my problem is. And I'm bored editing a video. There's usually a few seconds before people. There we go. Hello, person coming in. Right. That's about. There's about a 30-second delay between hitting go and people turning up. Hello, person turning up. I'm going to shrink you and put you in a different corner for now on my screen. That makes no difference to you. You don't know. But I'm working while I do this, or apparently I am. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. This app's weird. Hi, Jackie. How are you doing today? I hope you're well on this cold, miserable Friday afternoon. Are any Friday afternoons truly miserable? I mean, you've got the whole not going to work tomorrow thing. Unless you're going to work tomorrow, in which case it makes no difference that it's Friday. I don't go to work on a Friday anyway, or any other day. This is work. You're witnessing it right now. When I go to work, I'm doing it. That's one of those things. But no, I'm actually editing a video. I'm editing today's main YouTube channel video today, which is about covert narcissism, which, for some reason, most of YouTube who hate narcissists, and it's most people on YouTube who hate narcissists, except those who actually have narcissism and talk about it properly. They think like narcissism, covert narcissism, is like secret narcissism. So that's what today's video is about. It's not really secret narcissism, you idiots. Where am I located? I am in Keighley, in the UK, which is not a nice place. It's not the worst place in the world, right? There are many more places I would rather not live. But here we are. I didn't want to move here either. That was the thing. I just ended up stuck here. And now I'm obsessed with playing with my hair on live streams. I don't like my hair right now. It's in that weird, like, do I need a cut? Probably. I don't know. Yeah, it's not too cold. It's getting warmer. 4 degrees today. At least it's not, we've had worse weather, which isn't bad. There, I'm doing the typical British thing now, actually, where I'm just talking and complaining about the weather. That's while I upload YouTube videos. Okay, I live with BPD and I'm struggling with someone I think may be a narcissist. In what way struggling? Tell me more. Let's see what we can figure out. And we'll see what we can sort out. And also, with the whole people I think might be a narcissist, it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky statement. We're also going to try a thing where I'm doing a live stream, but I'm uploading a video too. And I think I have enough bandwidth to do this. My God, this internet connection's spectacular. It's uploading a 1.3 gigabyte file. It's just started. And 50% and nearly done. This video will be up on YouTube shortly, obviously. 60%, 70%. I love this internet connection so much. 80%. Oh dear, this is just unfair on the rest of the planet. 90%. Okay. 100%. That took 38 seconds. That's oh well. Anyway, you would tell me more about this. Struggling with someone who might be a narcissist. I'm curious to know what problems are they causing. Whatever. Also, let's not forget. You can have narcissistic traits and not be a narcissist. Oh, now there's a question. I relate with most of your content, but I don't have BPD. Is there something wrong with me? I don't know. That's really a couple of unrelated questions there. I'm being mean unnecessarily. No. Look, I mean, right. Okay. Okay. So, first of all, I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm not qualified to diagnose anybody. Even those who were qualified to diagnose me didn't want to really push the boat out that quickly. But I don't think necessarily that if you relate, I don't know. Maybe you have got BPD, actually. Because look, I think I've got ADHD based on the same thing. This is drama. I can take my glasses off and use them to gesture during this. I think I have ADHD, right? I haven't been assessed for ADHD. I haven't had any medical professional say, hey, do you think you might have ADHD or whatever? But I think I've got ADHD. And the reason why I think that is because I relate to all the videos about ADHD. Okay. And it's one of those, it's like, when you relate to something just a little too much. And it's, so I think I heard it. So maybe you have BPD. I don't know. It's such a complex. I don't know. Coming out with, is there something wrong with me? That feels a bit harsh. But I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me. I have WhatsApps. Oh, here we go. Right. A family member who sees my mental health as a struggle for them and inconvenience in their life. Been there, done that. Yeah. This is what people do, right? When they're being supportive of mental health problems, they get bored immediately. And especially if those things that we suffer from in any way impact them, they're done, right? Immediately. And the sad thing is, I don't think that's necessarily the fact that you're dealing with someone who has narcissism or is a narcissist or has narcissistic traits. I think this is worse, what I'm about to say, by the way. I think that people honestly don't care. That's the conclusion I've arrived to. No one cares, right? I've said this on, God, I say it on YouTube videos. No one cares, right? People like the happy side of mental health. People like to be mental health advocates or whatever, allies, mental health allies, because they think it makes them look like a good person. But mental health is ugly and crying and screaming and biting and kicking and death and suffering and all these horrible things. And what happens is people look at them and they go, oh, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to deal with that. And so people will abandon you almost immediately, right? You might have a lot, like with me, I have a lot of friends that didn't like just abandon me when they knew I had BPD, or a bit like they actually didn't care, right? Not from a we don't care about you kind of way, but it doesn't bother us. Whatever, you are how you've always been. We've known you for 20 years, whatever. Just because we put a name on it doesn't mean we're not your friend anymore, But there were people in my life who were entirely just bothered about how my suicidal ideation affected them. And at no point do they try to help. No one tries to help. No one wants to do that. It's your fault, and they'll hate you for not getting help. I'm slightly jaded by this whole thing. But yeah, I had a significant other who just, abandoned me because my pain was too much for them. And so if I wouldn't stop it, then they have to emotionally abandon me. because people don't really care. They want themselves to be all right. If you're hurting them with your pain, they want you to stop hurting them, but they don't want your pain to stop, right? So that's where they go. They just don't give a shit. No one cares. No one cares. It's just one of those things, and as a result, I'm not with that person anymore. I'm not with that person. So, I'm now with someone who cares how I feel. And it's an eye-opening experience. But I'm going to get serious once again by gesturing with my glasses. I'm going to put those down because I'm just fiddling with them. And also my girlfriend texted. I'm trying to not reply, but I've kind of, and has she written to ask how I am? She said, "How is your doggy?" But she's wonderful. It's an eye-opening experience when you tell someone that you're in pain and they say something along the lines of, how do we stop the pain? Rather than, shut up, you're making me sad. Which is usually what people say. If we're worried about people in some way rejecting us because of our mental health, of not wanting to be around us, all that kind of thing, then screw those people. Right? Screw those people. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do, necessarily. Like, they might be family, whatever. But honestly, screw those people. And, people will just leave them. You leave people. You set a boundary. This is a BPD thing. We don't set boundaries with people. We let them walk over us. We worry about what they think of us. We worry about so many things. And part of the healing process, part of getting over it, is learning to set boundaries. Learning to say, no, screw you. I don't care. We don't do that because we're trying to make people like us, right? We're trying to win favor. If we do everything everybody wants, if we let them treat us how they want, then they'll like us and we won't be abandoned and we won't be alone and all of that. And it's bollocks. It's rubbish. It just means we get taken advantage of and treated like crap, right? And it means that if somebody wants to treat us a particular way, we just let them. And we don't worry about their justification for it. We don't worry about why they're doing that. We worry like, oh, but what if they abandon me? Well, if they abandon you, fuck them. Quite frankly. Right? They're not really friends. They're not really people who care about you. And there are people in the world who will. And so whoever they are, screw them. Just screw them. Because they're not worthy of you. Quite frankly. So you have that boundary. You set that line. I expect to be treated like X, Y, and Z. Whatever. If you aren't going to treat me like that, then I have got no time for you. That's it. That's your boundary, right? That's it. If they don't want to hear about your mental health problems, then you don't talk to them about your mental health problems. And then you don't talk to them about anything else either. Why share anything with anybody who genuinely doesn't care or is only there for the fun stuff or whatever? Right? It's why I barely speak to my ex anymore. The normal range of normal conversation has run dry because I don't want to share anything about myself anymore. She doesn't care. She doesn't give a crap. So why should I give her that? Why should I give her that part of me? right? Boundary. Boom. I need to be treated like this. If you aren't going to do it, then we aren't going to be friends. We aren't going to spend time together. I don't want to be around people like that. You know, and God, it's a thing. I didn't talk to my dad for months at one point. I went a good sort of 8-9 months without speaking to my father at all, which I hate, by the way. It's not a, certainly not a brag of any kind. It's horrible. And it happened because of stupid arguments over stupid things and boundaries. Like, I'm not gonna live with that. I'm not gonna put up with that. And God, you have to be so strong. You have to be so committed to things, because you're effectively saying to people, okay, then go and abandon me. I don't care. You have to be in a strong place to do that. Which, God, if we could all just be in a good, strong place and not fear abandonment, then I wouldn't be making videos about stuff, would I? I've accepted that I can vape on video. But we'll see. I think I might have just got shadow banned from TikTok. I read something about vaping on there, I'm not sure. But anyway. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm gonna keep posting my video. This is riveting stuff. Posting about my secret narcissist video. Hello there in the chat. Aloha Mora. And hello Andy, how are you? Am I speaking to Americans in the morning or British people in the afternoon? I never know. And hi April. How are y'all doing today? It's nearly the weekend. It's nearly the weekend. Which is good, right? Covert narcissism, covert narcissist. So I'm doing tags. Oh, I haven't done a thumbnail. Do you know what? I'm terrible at thumbnails. Hello, everybody. God, everybody's coming in. Hello, Brittany. Hello, Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn. Yeah, I said that. Sorry, I shouldn't have started a live when I had work to do. You sort of think, well, I'll just do it, and I can do both things at once. People won't mind, and I feel bad now. I feel like, I feel like people have come over, and I'm sort of just ignoring you. You can still talk to me. I'm listening. I'm here. I'm watching. I'm talking. I wish I could show you what I'm doing, actually. I'm doing a thumbnail. It's really not that exciting, if I'm perfectly honest with you. My printer's doing something. Why is my printer doing anything? What's it do? Anyway. Yeah, I'm glad I can read usernames. I'm notoriously awful at reading usernames. What the f is my printer doing? I mean, no doubt you can't hear this. It's. Wait, seriously. It's doing something. Can it go off? Because I can't. This is annoying now. Why would it suddenly stop doing anything? This is. The printer can go off. I don't need a printer right now. Sorry, everybody. It's still doing stuff. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry about that. People turning up to watch a live feed, and it's just some dude wrestling with his printer that you can't even see. It's making noises here next to me. That's why I did anything. Hang up, bear with me. I need to just... sorry. Anyway, hi, Carmen. Hi there. Thank you. Oh, the printer's... Why would it do anything? It's not like I just sent something to print. But hey, it's something to talk about for a bit. Isn't it? What would you like to talk about? What would you like to talk about? I've just had a couple of days off because I was in a bit of a state, to be honest. We can maybe talk about that because it gets complicated, right? Yeah, printer still... What is it doing? Why is it trying to do anything? Weird thing. Yeah, so it's been a weird week. And this is the sort of stuff that has to go in a Patreon video. If you're not signed up to me on Patreon, patreon.com/earlymorningbarking, go for it. Oh, it's all about... I don't even... Can I say it on a TikTok live? Why is it spitting out a piece of paper? Dear Hewlett Packard, screw you. Oh, hang on. There's something... Oh, right. Now then. Oh, now that's... There's something... There's something jammed in my printer. This is... A small piece of photo paper in there that it was hacking on, like when Paisley coughs up a fur ball. By the way, my dog coughs up fur balls. What's that about? Maybe it will shut up now. It shuts up now. Thank you. Anyway, back to where we were going. BPD and hypersexuality. There we go. Oh, this is a difficult topic to talk about. It's such a difficult topic to talk about, and there's so little stuff out there because it's such a difficult topic to talk about. And it's especially difficult to talk about from a personal point of view because there's a lot in there I don't want to share on TikTok. Right? Suffice it to say, hypersexuality in BPD, and it's very much a thing. We are the first thing mentioned in the Wikipedia article on hypersexuality. This happens to people with BPD, but they don't talk about it or make videos about it because YouTube and TikTok don't like that sort of thing. So we don't talk about that kind of thing. We don't go into it. I made one video once a while ago and never really talked about it again because it does get difficult to talk about without going into some personal details. As did the cluster B and kink thing as well. That became a thing. And this is all stuff I'm going to have to do on Patreon. There's a couple of things I'm planning on going through on Patreon. But I want to talk about this because I have no feedback on it, right? I only have my experience with it. And I don't know how this affects other people. And I'd be interested to hear. You just never get to hear. But for me, it's like you have a base level of sexuality by which we're talking about. I'm including things like sex drive, libido, that kind of thing. But also like a baseline of activity, right? The sort of stuff you get up to, the stuff you will do, the stuff that turns you on, the stuff that you find sexually exciting. We all have a base level, and that is at different places for all of us, right? That's fine. And when hypersexuality kicks in, and for me it's peaks and troughs, right? If you imagine the sine wave up and down, and this straight horizontal line running through the middle of it, and this horizontal line running through the middle represents hang on. Oh, wait. We have a pencil. Can I do this? Right. There's our baseline of sexuality. Can you see that on the screen? Can you see I just drew a line across the screen? I'm hoping you can see that. And then it comes in these peaks and troughs of going above and below this baseline. Okay? And that's kind of how it goes. And when I'm above the line, then things get weird. Right? Below the line is fine. It's quiet. It's not very interesting. It's a bit, like, do you not fancy me anymore? Kind of comments that come my way and that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it's just all gone. And then you'll have this little moment. You'll have these little points. Can I put a shape in it? I'm trying to do a pointy arrow. Can I do a pointy arrow? You have these little points here and here where everything's fine and everything's normal. And now I'm willing to bet, how do I get rid of all of this, by the way? There we go. I'm willing to bet that a lot of us in the BPD, that baseline is a couple of points above most normal people. I mean, I'm including myself in that. There's nothing vanilla going on here. There's that step up necessary. So when you go into hypersexuality, wherever your baseline is gets turned up by 100 or whatever, and that leads to some interesting situations and circumstances. And yeah, now you can see how this starts to cause problems, right? First of all, I mean, there's just so many problems this can cause, right? So first, above it, whoa, what are we doing, people? Right? Seriously? This is where, like, the risky behavior comes in. We're going to start doing stuff that we ordinarily wouldn't do. To most neurotypical people, right? There's this world of sexual fantasies break down into two categories. Ones I really want to do and things I fantasize about but would never really do in normal life, right? And I think when hypersexuality comes in, we start taking things out of this pile and putting them onto the things I would do pile, right? And in normal circumstances, the things in this would never do pile are on that pile for a reason, right? They may be dangerous. They may be too much for us. They may be, there's so many reasons why you wouldn't actually do something. And so when you start doing them, you're going to start running into problems, right? This is where the risk is. This is where the dangerous behavior is. This is where you do all kinds of weird stuff that you wouldn't normally do. And this becomes a problem. And the way it goes in my head is as we're on the... I've lost my diagram now. Let's do another quick because this is easy. Up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. So as I get to about... Let's see. This point. Then things start to get brain foggy. Things start to become all about that. And it's not enough to try and satisfy it with lots more base level stuff. That's not going to do it. That's just normal. However extreme that normal level is, it's still normal, and you still have to go above it. And so by the time I reach peak here, right in front of my face, we'll go with that one, then that's where I get to the point of actually acting on the things that are going on in my head. That's when something will take place. And then we flatline. We go build up, build up, build up. Oh, I've done it now. Done. Back down to normal level. So in actual fact, a more accurate diagram, the sine wave is easier. But it's like there's a build up and then boom. And then there's a build up and then boom. And it's probably more like that. Right? And anything sort of around this base, this is normal, and then we get to the peak, and then we boom, drop off straight away. So what I haven't figured out is how to drop it, how to let it go. And since it's always been a thing, but I was unable to necessarily do anything about it all before, right? I was, this was part of the extreme of being caught in a sexless relationship, right? Is that I'm someone whose base level is higher, and to be, being caught in a sexless relationship is horrible for anyone. But when your base level is higher, then it becomes like an all-encompassing, all-focusing thing, and you're still going through these hypersexual ups and downs, but you can't do anything about it, because if you do anything about it, you basically just destroy your relationship, right? This is where the BPD unstable relationship things come from. There's lots going into that unstable relationship part, and hypersexuality is one of those things. But since being in a new relationship that not only allows me to have the regular baseline that I'm comfortable with, but also provides me the ability to go beyond that relationship and seek out other more peak related things, then it's been less suppressed, right? And I've been trying, and I'm able to do more about it. And so I've been trying to do more about it, trying to figure it out, trying to deal with what's going on. Because before, in the sexless relationship, it would just play out harmlessly through the porn I was addicted to at the time, or whatever, right? You'd notice that stuff starts getting more extreme than you're looking at, and that kind of thing. And now I'm out of that phase of my life and into this new phase. Then things are, the facility to go out and do that stuff is there. And so you do it. And you kind of get, I was kind of working on the basis of, look, this is a peak and trough thing. If I know when it's happening, and I know I'm going to get to that point where I am so caught up in it and so wrapped up in it that I can't think about anything else or do anything else. If I just get on and do it, then I can just get back to normal more quickly. And that hasn't been working as much. That doesn't seem to help, because yeah, I've indulged things. That's what happens. I've indulged things, and it still keeps, it's. I'm not happy with it. Really, I think that's what it is. I'm not happy with it. It's like another thing to deal with that crops up every couple of months or so. And yeah, I'm not sure necessarily. I mean, because you go with the indulging it, right? Now, I as I say, a lot of these behaviors could be seen as dangerous, could be seen as stuff you don't want to do, stuff you wouldn't normally do, all that kind of thing. So why would you indulge that? Of course, that's where you start running into problems. But you can, I don't know, I've not done anything dangerous, right? I've not put my health and safety at risk through any of this yet. Now, some people would argue I have done that, but I don't think I've done that. Certainly not from like a sexual health perspective or anything like that. I've not put myself at risk or in danger. And again, as a man, the risks of moving around in such circles are somewhat mitigated. So there's less of a worry for me, right? It's not impossible to hurt me, but I don't fear the same things a woman would fear. So it's possible to sort of try and indulge things without being dangerous, without taking those risks. However, it's not really helping. And this whole idea of as soon as you feel it, go and do something about it, doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's an ignition point. There's a place it needs to get to do the thing. Right? The build-up isn't enough, because I don't necessarily want to go and do the thing. I'm fine here on my baseline. Occasionally for fun, popping up above, whatever. Try new things. Let's live our lives. That's all fine. But moving stuff from that don't want to do to the will do pile. If I was truly happy doing that, then there wouldn't be a wouldn't do that pile. Right? That pile exists for a reason. Those are my limits. Those are my hard no's, if you like. But I can take out of that pot and put it into the, I'll have a go at that pot. But I don't want to. And so I have to get to this point where the pressure builds up and builds up and builds up and eventually explodes, and then I'll seek out whatever it is that the hypersexuality is drawing me to at the time. Now, my next step, my next move in the battle against hypersexuality is to try to not take anything out of that wouldn't do pot and have a bigger rummage around in the would do pot. And let's find, are there other more comfortable ways of satisfying this? Can this be dealt with comfortably in a way that perhaps I wasn't thinking about before, but having done it, there's no serious regret? Because honestly, I think a lot of BPD sexuality can be summed up with the words, it seemed like a good idea at the time, right? It seemed like a good idea. It really felt like it was what I wanted to do, but oops, you know, and that, depending on what you've gone and done and who you are as a person and the people around you, all that sort of thing, that can be severely distressing, right? That can be severely distressing. And it's at a point I don't even want to that openly talk about it. The specifics of it aren't relevant to what I'm saying. And I've talked a lot about sexual stuff on TikTok and YouTube, more so YouTube. Especially with the hypersexuality stuff, the kink and cluster B stuff. Like, seriously, do you realize how many of us are into kink? Like, really? I was shocked. I was stunned. I was right, because there's this whole alternate community of kinky people, right? And when you're not in it, you're aware there's something different about these people. There's something that makes them function like that, and it's not like the rest of people. Okay. And I always kind of felt more drawn to the other side of things. And again, getting that opportunity, found I was extremely comfortable in that area. And then you start meeting people and you start talking to them, and you're like, oh, you have BPD too? Oh, what an amazing coincidence! Oh, you're a narcissist too? Who'd have thought? Oh, we all have ADHD. Okay, childhood trauma. Anyone? All of us. Great. And then you realize, oh, we're all here dealing with something. Right. I mean, it's fun, but oh my God, well, this is just group therapy. That's what it's like. You just start meeting lots of other. I have not met more peers with similar mental health problems to myself than I did within the kink community. It is just, whoa, we're all there. It's bizarre. And so many people suffering from hypersexuality, looking to do more and more extreme things to overcome their issues and that sort of stuff. As Brittany says, it's family you didn't know you had. That's it. And yeah. I mean, look, it was something I knew I had kinks. I knew I had stuff beyond. I knew that my baseline was not where it should be, right? I hate using that, where it should be. There's no hard fast definition of that, is there? I knew it wasn't where it was, where society deemed it appropriate to be, or whatever, that's what it was. I knew I wanted more out of that aspect of my life, and that sort of thing. And since finding it and since getting into it, it has been, wow, massively therapeutic. Massively therapeutic. Just honestly, it's a break from, not reality, but it's a break from your problems, is what it is. That's what I see it as. It's a break from your problems. And for me, gives me a forum to not just let out my narcissism, not just indulge it, but to roll around in it in glee, to spray it all over the walls and be thanked for it. That was perhaps not the best euphemism for that. But it's like this. Oh, this is a narcissistic playground. You mean I can, like, not just not fight my narcissism, but I can turn it up to 11, and people here will like that? Like, yeah. Oh, okay. And things went from there. And so, yeah, the baseline moved up, and everything hypersexual had to bang its head on the ceiling, I think. which again causes issues. So I'd like to find a way to deal with it um, in a less stressful way, because it is stressful. It's not fun, right? This is the. It's not like just being super horny, right? That it's another one of those things that people without the personality disorders hear and they go, "Well, I get really horny. I don't know what you're talking about." No, no, no. It's not just being. I know you've been really horny. I've been really horny. We've all been really horny. That's not it, is it? It's an all-encompassing obsession that you cannot move away from. This is not just you need a shag, right? This is like the only things that I can focus on is this thing now. I need to do this thing or these things or whatever. And it's not just feeling really horny. It's why you've not had a main channel YouTube video for a couple of days. Okay? You cannot focus or think on anything else. It's painful and it is stressful and it is upsetting and distressing. If the things you suddenly found yourself wanting to do were stuff you actually wanted to do, then you'd want to do them anyway. Right? It wouldn't be a hypersexual thing. It would just be Thursday. But it's not that. It's way beyond that. And it is debilitating and upsetting. And finding something to do about it is difficult. Because no one wants to talk about it. I think people are worried about going into specifics, and that is one reason why I've sort of shied away from it. I don't, like I say, there's stuff I don't want to talk about because it's stuff that I'm not comfortable with. Right? When I talk about kink, I am totally comfortable with this. We can do an entire show on that. We can, whatever. That's fine. And I will talk about what I do and how I do it and why I do it and what I get out of it and how you can do it too. That's all fine, right? But then this hypersexuality stuff, and this is why it's not right, because it's not comfortable. It's not got that same level of confidence behind it, backing it up. It's a different thing. And it brings on stress. I have slept so much. I've not woken up before midday this week. And it's just been thing after thing after thing like that. So it's horrible. But as Brittany says, people don't realize they have kinks most of the time. I think people are... God, I'm saying this as a British person, right? We're notoriously sexually stunted, aren't we? I think that's bollocks, personally. But, that's the reputation that we have. And I think people don't explore stuff. And they don't see something they like as a kink. And when we say kink, they think about stuff that we aren't necessarily talking about. I think the big misconception with it is that it all involves pain and stuff like that. Like, no, not if you don't want it to. There's no like, it has to be this, and you'll do this, and you'll like it, or get out, kind of thing. You're like, you do realize that you're allowed to do whatever you want to do in your bedroom, right? And if you don't want to be hurt or hurt somebody, then you really don't have to do that. So, there's a lot of weird stuff, but it's been fun. Honestly, I could do a whole channel on it. I really could. But it's just narcissistically bragging. But look, more than anything, that's kind of what I get out of it, right? It's that safe space for narcissism. It's the safe place where I can let all this out and not actually hurt or upset anybody. Okay? Why am I itching a lot? Never mind. Yeah. So it's that. But yeah, it's been the hypersexuality that has been kicking my ass for the last few days. Really kicking my ass. And yeah, it's one of those things. What you been saying in the chat room? My kinks have more to do with connection. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I don't want to just give you a list. Like, oh, I do these things. It's not. That's not what we're here for. But I can assure you that everything I do, I am spectacularly good at. That's something I can give you. I mean, look, this is the advantage of bringing your narcissism and your BPD obsession to something, right? When I got into kink, I didn't just like, oh, that's interesting. No, I got into it, right? The BPD obsession came in. And like, oh, is this a new thing we like? Yeah, okay, let's like everything to do with this thing. Let's go and get stuff. We'll buy things. We'll join clubs, get on a Facebook group. Let's do everything. It's 4:00, time for doggy dinner. I'll go and feed him shortly. And so it kind of, yeah, I got into that obsessive. It was like I was getting into model making or playing guitar again. Honestly, it was, oh, there are accessories for this. I must accessorize, you know? And now I have a drawer full of crap in my bedroom. I have a chest of drawers full of crap in my bedroom. Okay, like we're way beyond one drawer. Not long into things. But that's where it goes. And then you just sort of your mind takes it and runs with it. And so I don't know. My mind lives in a very sexual oriented space most of the time. Most of the time. I also think that a lot of this is to do with my MPD trauma coming in around 16 to 18 years old and sort of freezing a lot of attitudes and opinions and other things, brain development in that time. And I honestly, a lot of responses I have to things, a lot of natural thoughts, reactions, whatever, are very childish, very juvenile in their attitude. You know, especially with regards to sort of the importance of sex and sexuality within my life on a day-to-day basis. Right? Most people are out there not thinking about it, just getting stuff done. And for me, it's very much a forefront of my mind, and there is status attached to it. Right? There's an element of how good am I at that? You know, there are so many elements to it, and it's just it's such an easy thing for your BPD and MPD to just take it and run with it. And for me, that's what happened. You know, it's a weird thing. And I didn't go looking for it either. I should have done, now I think about it, but I didn't go looking for it. And it also, I didn't know how to find it or what there was out there, right? In terms of what people did. Once you start getting into stuff, there's a whole world of things that open up, right? There's websites you've never heard of, right? All kinds of stuff. And you think you know everything, but you don't. You don't at all. You don't know anything. And so, yeah, it became a very eye-opening experience, to say the very least. So that's just one of those things. Yeah. So that's yeah, hypersexuality, kink, and cluster B. We're all dealing with stuff, right? We're all dealing with stuff. Either it's you have your dominant people who are dealing with, like, I want to finally have control. I'm sick of everything out there. In here, I'm going to be in control. I'm going to be pleased instead of worrying about pleasing somebody else. I'm going to have what I want for a change. And I am going to just demand it. And that will be fine, because this is my world. And if you want to be part of it, then you have to obey my rules. That's fine. And that's that. And then on the other side of it, you've probably got people who are like, I finally want to please somebody who will tell me I've done the right thing. Right? People who have just spent their lives trying to please. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Am I pleasing you? Are you happy? Do you like me? Whatever. And never getting any positive feedback. And eventually having somebody say, good girl. Where do you think a praise kink comes from? It doesn't come from people being praised a lot in their daily lives and feeling appreciated. And so you get that. And then you might even get people who are just in control too much that need to just let go of some things and have a bit of a break from it. And obsess over things. This is all prime cluster B territory. It's honestly, it's like group therapy. It really is. Only everyone's pretending it's not. I think no one wants to admit that it's group therapy, but it kind of is. It kind of is. I don't want to overemphasize the word group in that either. Like, I feel like that's that implies various things that aren't necessarily that. I've not posted this YouTube video yet, by the way. I need to go and do that. I want to be a good girl. Exactly. Exactly. And that's... Sorry, I'm reading that comment. I don't want to be a good girl. I had to be clear on that suddenly. Like, oh. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm distracting myself. But yeah, it's the thing. It's a thing. And I get it. Obviously, I get it. It's my deal. It's my bag, baby. It's what I do. It's a thing, and I'm glad I found it. I'm glad I found it. It's been a very interesting outlet for a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of new things. To be perfectly honest, I've learned lots of weird and unusual skills I never thought I'd have. I think, including the ability to give a good girl. You've got to have a good girl. You've got to have that, and like, just, you know, it's got to mean something. It's got to send that tingle up her neck. Ah, dear. You know what I'm talking about, anyway. So yeah, that was it. That's where that comes from, and that feeds into the whole, right? When people are like, why poly? Why the polyamorous, ethically non-monogamous relationship? That's why. Right? Because I can't cheat. I can't commit an infidelity. I can't do it. It's beyond the bounds of my relationship. The way I would cheat would be to do something with somebody else, not tell her about it, and vice versa. But those, you know, that built into that relationship. This is not an accident. This is not, oh, isn't that lucky? Now, this is by design. Because if I don't have that pressure, then I can go and do what I want. Yeah? You see? You see? And there is that pressure. There is that pressure. And I used to look at it like, I don't know. I'd always known about polyamory. And obviously, you know, I heard a lot about it presenting Do Ask, Do Tell. And had friends who did it and that sort of thing, and they were all very happy, and it was always presented as like, oh, it's so much better, you haven't figured out how to do this yet, have you? Like, well, no, because that's bollocks what you're actually saying. And now I do it, I'm still in the same position. It's not better, it's just different. And I wouldn't encourage anybody to do it, saying that, oh, you'll be much happier, you should do this. But for me, it is by design. It is by design. That is the intention, because then when this hypersexual time comes around, I can do what the fuck I want. That sounded a bit aggressive, didn't it? It's not how I feel. And I don't necessarily go out and do a lot. we're close to specifics there that I'm not getting into. But the point is that that's not a problem, which is good. And it takes a lot of pressure off the relationship for me. It's there's a lot of stuff I don't have to worry about, right? And this is again like a sort of a reaction to what I was going through, where all the weight was put on my shoulders. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this for me and that for me and this for me. And the fact you're not doing, you're failing, you're not good enough. All of that. That was my old thing, right? Now in the poly relationships, all of that pressure is gone. And there's also that pressure of something I would get frustrated with my ex is like when you're trying to see somebody as your whole world. Like, I always imagined it. Imagine you have this brick wall that you're trying to make this brick wall complete. And there's a big hole in the middle of it with space for bricks. And we're going to try and fill that hole with a person, with one person. You can sort of squidge them in and maybe fill a lot of that hole, but there's bits where there's gaps, and maybe they don't want to go into that bit of the corner at all, and you sort of trying to force someone in and fill a hole with something that doesn't fill a hole. An alternative way of doing that is to choose several smaller pieces and fill up the hole that way. And what I would do historically is when trying to fill that hole up with one person, I would get upset and obsessed with the ways in which they didn't fill that hole. This is an awful metaphor. I would get upset with, like, this gap here, and there's a gap here, and I don't like that. Those will always be gaps if I'm trying to fill this hole with this person. And now in the poly world, none of that pressure is there. None of that exists. I'm not seeing my partner as the person who has to fill all of my needs all the time, to do everything that I need from a partner, and put all of that pressure on them and on the relationship, and spend the rest of my life worrying like, but just too much of that, and being bugged by it. That just doesn't exist anymore. It's fine. It's all fine. Because if there's a gap, then I have the option to try and find somebody that fills that gap. This all sounds very sexual, and I'm not meaning it to. And it, there's that element of it. And the sharing, right? I mean, God. I'm reaching my goal. Thank you, people who are helping me reach my goal, by the way. You're all awesome. Disrespected in an open relationship. I get that, right? I totally get that. And I think that is normal. Fine. Yeah. This is where it, right? The thing with poly, there are two arguments. Some people think it's a thing you are, and some people think it's a thing you do, right? So some people would like you to think that it's like being gay, for example. I am, polyamorous. That's like being gay. It's a thing I can't help. I have to do it, whatever. And then there are other people who would say, no, I'm just into it, whatever. I personally think it's a mix of both, right? But the people who say you have to be born this way are not quite right. First of all, of course, you have to be into it. You have to want to do it. But I think you have to have that right state of mind that allows you to do that. Which doesn't necessarily mean being born that way, but having that right state of mind. And when it came to stuff like, right, because this is a double-edged sword, and it's very easy to think about it from the point of view of me. Like, I would like to go out and do whatever I want with whoever I want, whenever I want, etc. I can think that. That's fine. And we're all cool with that as a concept. Men especially. But then you realize, oh, hang on, I mean, she can go out and do what she wants with who she wants when she wants. Oh, that might be a little bump of my ego there if she does that. I'm going to say something that no one's ever said to you before. It's going to make you laugh. Are you ready for this? Come close, right? You're not thinking narcissistically enough. I've been dying to say that for so long. You're not thinking about it. Turn the narcissism up a little bit, right? Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and generalize here. I think it might be fair to say that a lot of us with NPD probably are of the opinion that we're really good in bed. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I know I think that, right? I think it's a feature of the breed that we do this, right? Confident enough about that to test it? How confident are you? Because I am very confident. Let's go put it to the test. Go try that guy. Go try the other guy. Try all those guys. Because we know where everything's coming back to, right? That's where it goes. Oh, yeah. No, let's give her a choice. Let's give her that option. Let's let her have a look around because we know what the best toy in the toy shop is, right? Not bothered. Not scared. Not worried. Not at all. Not in the least. Because this is me we're talking about, right? And that's where it goes. You just turn up the narcissism a bit and it's fine, right? It's fine. That's where I went with it. And I'm going to say, this is just me. I am not advocating for this as an ideal lifestyle or anything like that. But that's where I went with it. That was where it took my head. I just think even more narcissistically. If you can even take it to a darker place, which isn't how I feel, but there is also the pull the ripcord moment of, well, I don't care, and it sort of all came, I remember telling my mum about this. Obviously, I described it very differently for her than I am for you. But, it sort of comes up like, well, and she's asking questions like, well, what if she meets someone that she likes more than you? Okay, fair question. What if my girlfriend goes out and has a date with somebody that she likes more than me? Well, okay, that would be potentially very sad, whatever. But what part of marriage and monogamy prevents that from happening? And when you say that, you tend to get stunned silence. Like, I would understand if all the monogamous married people were monogamous and stayed married. But as far as I can tell, as far as I've observed, monogamy and marriage have absolutely no effect on anything regarding how much your partner likes you and wants to be with you. That's what I found. It sucks and it's rubbish, but this whole like, well, why would you let your girlfriend date other people? What if she leaves you? What if we're married and she leaves me? What if we committed to spend our lives, we bought a house and we've had kids, and then she has an affair? Does that never happen? Am I just putting myself at increased risk of that? No. So, in actual fact, nothing has changed there. She can go out and meet somebody she likes more than me, but that could have happened anyway. Right? And even within a and the other thing is, within a polyamorous relationship, even if she were to meet somebody she likes more than me, it doesn't mean I have to go. Right? And because of also all of the independence that this brings with it, this is another thing that pulled me in, right? The BPD side of it, fighting this clinginess, fighting this fear of abandonment, of being able to say, I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you. I'm not like, how will I live if you leave me? Because I've built up my own life. And rather than structuring my life around a relationship and a person that I wanted to be with, I've restructured my life around me, and then being able to say, okay, what person will enhance this? Right? What, rather than being with someone because I'm just desperate to not be alone, now I'm happy alone. Who can I bring in? What kind of person? What sort of stuff makes this better? Which is surely a much healthier place to start looking for a relationship from. I don't know. And that's what led me here. And I honestly think that these changes of attitude, these different ways of looking things, have helped me. Again, not medical advice, not like, hey, if you got BPD, go out and be polykinky, it'll solve it. That's not what I'm saying. There are elements of it that have helped elements of me immensely. That I don't know if I'd have dealt with certain things within relationships yet. You know, there are just so many elements of it. I could go on longer. I might. In fact, I won't go on too much longer because, again, dog to feed. But that's where it all came from. That's why it stays around. Right? There's no pressure. There's no worry. There's no shame, fear, whatever. Everything is normal. Everything is fine. Everything ticks along as it does. And you meet some wonderful and interesting people, and you have more people in your life and that sort of thing. And, you know, it's become a very happy, comfortable thing and is now normal. And now it started out as an experiment for me a couple of years ago and is now how I live my life. And regardless of what happened, you know, if anything were to happen to the relationship I have now, it would continue. You know. And also don't get the impression that it has to be a constant, ongoing thing all the time. Must find new people, must date as many people as possible, whatever. I've been on a bit of a break with it. You know, I've not been in an overabundance of dating of late because stuff to do. I have a relationship which is a main relationship. This is the person who meets my mum, who comes to Christmas, who does all my proper main partner, girlfriend. She's amazing and I love her more than anything. And she's great. And so that is fine. And that is like the relationship equivalent of being that I'm okay here. And now I can find things to add to it to make it better. And it's like, yeah, I'm okay here. And now I can find things to add to it to make it better. But if I don't, then I'm still fine here. Which I find very comforting. I find it very reassuring and very safe. And it doesn't, for me, bring with it. And like I said, I lived for so long with that panic of, I need you, I must have you, I can't live without you, how can I please you? I must do everything I can to be what you want me to be. And at the same time, hating you for all the things that you aren't. And that wasn't healthy. That wasn't positive. That wasn't good. And I'm, of course, willing to accept the explanation that that was a toxic monogamous relationship, which it was. But at the same time, this is much easier now. This is much better. And there's a... But, you know, I've forgotten the most attractive part of it. And this is by far the best bit, right? The communication in the poly community is outstanding. The things I can talk to my partner about, the way in which we can talk about them, the things we can talk about are infinite. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to be ashamed about anything. I don't have to hide anything or whatever. I can talk in the rawest form as if it was like actual group therapy, right? How I would talk there is the level of conversation we're able to have. And I thought it was just this one person, but as brilliant as she is, it's actually not. The level of communication required, and honesty and understanding that is required to have an open relationship like that is immense. Right? There's so much room for hurt there. Obviously, there's so much room for somebody to say, what you are doing is destroying me. Can you please stop? And you have to say, sorry, yeah. You know. And that level of communication is just, that was, we have such a connection on being able to just talk about problems and how we feel and that. We've never had an argument. We've never had an argument. We just have discussions that start with words, I feel like this. And before starting a conversation with I feel like was the end of it. Right? Which is how a lot of people communicate. It's bad. And that's when you get darvoed and shut down by your narcissist that you're dealing with. And it's hard. And now I don't have that anymore. So, woohoo. Big up for me, whatever. That's all cool. And so, yeah. That's it. The sharing is fine. Because it's like, you get your go. Right? You get your go. And I get a bigger go than everybody else. So there's that. And also, well, if you can go and find someone else as well, fill a gap, whatever. I don't know. Honestly, there are so many things I get out of it. And it's been just so much more fun. Always sub here by my dom may be borderline. I don't know. Do you get borderline doms? Do I count? Yeah. Yeah, you do. You must do. But personally, it's the MPD that's running the show on that one. It's not borderline. There are some, that's just me though. I'm not discounting anybody else's experience in that. There'll be lots of borderline things there. But yeah, it's that severe control. And that just, it's impossible to be wrong. It's that time when the narcissism is indulged and it's not wrong or bad anymore. And you can do or say the outlandish things. And the answer is, yes, you're right. Not, holy shit, are you crazy? Like it is the rest of the time. It's a vacation from your problems, just like Bob has. And that's it. So yeah, there will be Patreon videos on this coming out, to be perfectly honest, because I don't like putting this stuff on YouTube and TikTok and hoping it's monetized in some way or what have you. Those things worry me. So we can do that, and there are certain words I'm not supposed to use and stuff like that. So it's impossible to talk about stuff, which sucks. But as we approach the 1 hour 20-minute mark, yeah, go and check me out on Patreon, patreon.com/earlymorningbarking. I'm gonna start putting up the stickier stuff sort of beginning of next week, I think, is when I'm going to make a start on that. Obviously, this week has been above the line, so to speak. It's been above the line, but it's dropped back down below the line again. So normal brain function has been somewhat resumed. Normal. Regular. What normally happens here. That kind of thing. Go and check out my other videos, youtube.com/earlymorningbarking. I've just put some stuff up there. And don't forget, liking that on all the TikToks. Hit the like button. Hit the bookmark button. Do all that for me. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you for helping me reach my goal that I didn't notice we did. That's amazing. I have no idea what it means. But there's a button on the app that says click here to set a goal. And then I clicked it and it said, well, what do you want your goal to be? 10, 15, 25, 50, 100? I take 25. And then the thing came up and I had a goal of 25, whatever's. And people have helped me reach that a lot. And I appreciate that. And I'm going to go and find out what that means and probably be very happy about it. I will see you all later. Make sure you're subscribed and following me so you see when the live start, and hit the notification bell on YouTube as well. You'll get live stream notifications on there as well. You take care. Have a good Friday. I'll see you later. Bye bye.